Hi, this is Rachel with Beadaholique, and in this video I want to show you how to bead weave a star using Czech glass 2-hole DiamonDuo beads. So here's a finished piece. It features the DiamonDuos sewn in a star pattern and lined with seed beads. And this piece is finished with a closed jump ring, so you can hang it as a piece of jewelry or as a craft. My inspiration for this came about because I was playing with the DiamonDuos, and I noticed that when you arrange them in a circular pattern, they nestle into this 6-pointed star. So I wanted to create a bead-woven Star of David that could be worn as a piece of jewelry or used as a charm that you hang in your house around Hanukkah or any other time of year. And while I was working, I realized that the shape is also reminiscent of a snowflake or even a flower, so that all depends on which colors you choose for this project. I have just a couple of colors of DiamonDuos here. We have many more than this. But just to show you that depending on the colors you choose, you can do anything you want with this. Snowflake, star, flower, it's all up to you. So here's what you'll need for this project. You'll need some DiamonDuos. You can do this with one color or two colors, and I'm going to demonstrate using two colors just to show how that adds a nice bit of contrast to this piece. You'll also need some seed beads in size 15-0. These are Toho seed beads in the color nickel. You'll need a 5mm closed jump ring. You'll need some FireLine thread, and I've already gone ahead and cut about 3 feet of FireLine and threaded my needle. And you'll also need some thread snips. And optionally, if you want to make a necklace out of this piece, you'll also need a finished chain necklace. So I have one here in silver, and I'll show you how to make a necklace when the piece is done. So let's begin. So I'm going to start with this silver color for the center of the star, and I want to begin with the tip. Something I like to do before weaving with any 2-hole bead is just to poke my needle through both holes of the bead, just to make sure that they're both open, because there's nothing worse than stringing a bead and then coming back to work on the other side and realizing that the hole is clogged and you have to take out your beadwork. So, always a good idea to just start knowing all of your beads are ready to use. So once you've done that, go ahead and string 6 DiamonDuos, all facing the same way, so all with this textured side up. So that's 3, 4, 5, 6. And slide these down almost to the end of your thread. You don't need a big tail, but just leave a little bit of a tail to be sure. So go ahead and tie a knot. And this should make all of your DiamonDuos curl up into this 6-pointed star pattern that we talked about. Don't make your knot too tight because you don't want your beadwork to warp any and be too tight while you're sewing. But just tight enough to be secure. So I'm going to double knot that, loosen it just a tad. Now I'm going to take my needle and sew through the bottom hole of the adjacent DiamonDuo bead. And this will just pull that knot into that bead so it won't be visible. And now I'm going to sew up through the outer hole of that same DiamonDuo bead. So we're going to step up, so we're sewing in the opposite direction. Okay, so that's the inner hole there, and now I'm going to take some of these dark blue DiamonDuos that I'm going to surround it with, and I'm going to string 2 of these dark blue DiamonDuos and slide them down. And you can see that they just nestle into this space above these 2 central DiamonDuos. So I'm going to sew through the outer hole of the adjacent DiamonDuo and just have those snap into place like so. And now I'm going to go around this central star and do that 5 more times. So there are dark blue DiamonDuos nestled between the holes of the central DiamonDuos all the way around. So I'm going to string 2 more. and sew through the adjacent DiamonDuo. And make sure they don't get tangled. And turn and repeat. So 2 more DiamonDuos and sew through the adjacent upper hole of that silver DiamonDuo. And they snap into place so nicely. Turn and repeat. I'm going to string 2 more DiamonDuos, always with the textured side facing forward. And pull. Get my thread tail out of the way. And again, 2 DiamonDuos, sew through the upper hole of the adjacent silver DiamonDuo. And pull. And for the last time, I'm going to pick up 2 dark blue DiamonDuos and sew through that silver DiamonDuo, completing this middle circle of dark blue DiamonDuos. I'll put it down just so you can see what it looks like. So now we have the inner silver star and an outer dark blue ring. And next we're going to add the points. Now that this row of beads is complete, I'm going to make a little knot for security on this thread pass here, just to make sure it's nice and secure. I like to make a couple of little knots there on my beadwork as I go. Okay, so, and after I make the knot, I'm going to sew through the bottom hole of that adjacent blue DiamonDuo and pull tight. And now, like we did earlier, I'm going to step up and sew through the top hole of that same blue DiamonDuo. So now we're sewing in the other direction again. And now we're going to start adding the points of the star. So I'm going to pick up 1 DiamonDuo, and I'm actually going to pick it up backward, and I'll show you why in a second. So I'm going to pick it up with the textured side facing away from me. And I'm going to sew through the adjacent hole of that next DiamonDuo and pull tight, and the textured side is forward. That's just because of the direction we're sewing around. If we're going to be sewing through that top hole, just make sure that whatever hole you pick up the bead through, it will end up with the textured side facing forward. Okay, so that's our first point. And now I'm going to pick up 3 15-0 seed beads and sew through the top hole of the adjacent DiamonDuo. And now I'm going to add another point bead. So I'm going to pick up 1 DiamonDuo backward and sew through that next DiamonDuo over. Pull tight and it ends up forward. And I'm going to do this all the way around. So 3 more tiny 15-0 seed beads. Pull tight. Come to another corner. Add 1 DiamonDuo. So we're adding the points of the star, and also we're starting the process of lining the piece with the seed beads between the points. And I think the silver and this dark blue will have a really nice pop of contrast when it's done. And now we're going to come in with another corner. Sew through that adjacent DiamonDuo and pull. And we're getting there. Another 3 15-0 seed beads and through the DiamonDuo next door. And then another point picking it up and making sure the textured side is facing away from me. And pulling tight, and it's magically facing toward me. 3 more seed beads through the next DiamonDuo. And 1 more DiamonDuo. This will be the last point. Pull, and then our last little segment of 3 15-0 seed beads. And this time, when I sew through, I'm going to actually sew through the adjacent DiamonDuo, the top hole, the bottom hole of that corner bead, and the top hole of the bead next to it. So I'm going to sew through 3 beads here. And now I'm going to make a little security knot. Catch the thread. And pull tight. Okay, so this is what our piece looks like now. You can see it, the star shape is together, and we just have to finish lining the piece with seed beads. So in order to do that, first I'm going to pick up 4 15-0 seed beads, and I'm coming out one side of one of the points. So I'm going to pick up these 4 seed beads and sew through the top of the point bead. And these seed beads are just going to lay across the point there. And now I'm going to pick up 5 15-0 seed beads. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on that needle. And I'm going to curl around the top of this point bead and sew in the same direction through that top hole of the bead. And now these beads are just going to hug the point of that DiamonDuo. And now over here I'm going to pick up 4 more seed beads, just like we did on the first side, and sew through the 3 bead holes that comprise the bottom of this point here. So now you can see that the seed beads lay all along the side of this point. And now I'm going to sew through the existing 3 seed beads between these 2 points. And I'm going to do that process again. I'm going to pick up 4 seed beads, sew through the top of the point, pick up 5 seed beads, and curl over the top of the point and sew in the same direction through that upper hole of the point DiamonDuo. And now 4 more for the other side. And through the 3 holes of the bottom of that point. And you can finesse the seed beads so they lay properly along the point. Next, I'm going to go back through these seed beads just to reinforce it and keep sewing around, lining the piece with these 15-0 seed beads. And on the last point, we're going to do something different. We're going to add the jump ring. So go ahead and keep sewing around this piece, and I'll see you back here for the last point. Okay, so now I've beaded around most of my star, and I'm at the last point here, and I'll show you just the minor variation we're going to make. So just like before, we're going to pick up 4 seed beads to start for the first side of the point and sew through the top hole of that point bead. And then to loop over the top, we're going to pick up 6 seed beads instead of 5. There's 3, 4, 5, 6, and onto this thread I'm going to string one of my 5mm closed jump rings. And now I'm going to sew back through that top hole, the same direction, and pull. And now we just attach this jump ring so this piece can be hung. All right, and then down the other side, we're going to add another 4 seed beads like usual. 3, 4, and sew through these 3 bead holes at the bottom of the point. And pull tight. And just like we've been doing on all of these points as we line them, I'm going to sew back through the seed beads that I just sewed in place without getting caught, just to make sure they're nice and secure. You especially want to make sure that this point is secure with the jump ring hanging from it, because this is the area that's going to get the most wear and tear on the piece. Okay, now I'm just going to go back down these 4 seed beads on this side. Just securing them up. And also the 3 seed beads between the points. Why not? Okay, and here I'm going to make another security knot. Gently pull that tight. And now I'm going to sew into my beadwork just to tie off these thread tails. I'll sew into this DiamonDuo and the bottom hole of the middle one too, if I can get my needle in there. There we go. And out the back of the piece. All right, and your beadwork is done. So I'm going to go ahead and trim my thread tails. Nice and close. Okay, and here is your star piece. So as I said, this can be used as a charm. You can make a keychain out of it. You can hang it around the house. But I'm going to show you quickly how to turn it into a necklace. So here is my finished chain necklace. And I'll show you just how easy this is. You just open the clasp. And I'm going to feed this end of the clasp through the jump ring. And slide it down. And now I'm just going to close the clasp. That's what I love about these finished chain necklaces. You don't have to do much work, and you have a finished piece of jewelry. So there you go. That is how to bead weave a star using 2-hole DiamonDuos. You can find all these supplies at Beadaholique.com. Thanks so much for watching.